it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a different type of reading today. I asked on my channel in the community tab, if you're not following that, I would suggest that you do because there's a lot of good information that comes there. But I asked for what people wanted to see, and a lot of people commented that they wanted to see a reading on how to break free, how to move forward in this connection, from this connection into your own life, building your own dreams, creating your own self-esteem, working on your business or your dreams, or what's next in your life. Now, that's not to say that you're bailing on the twin flame connection or twin flame soulmate, whatever language you use. It's not to say that at all. What it is saying simply is that you're ready to not be completely focused on this, that you're not going to spend all your time wondering, what is my counterpart feeling? What are they thinking? What's going on in their karmic situation? This is for those of you that are ready to say, this circumstance is what it is right now. There's nothing that I can do to change it at this point. People have made their own choices. They've done what they're going to do. And so how do I live my best life in light of that? How do I live my best life and not get caught up in the drama of worrying about what somebody else is doing or not doing? So that's what this reading is about. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. I draw a sacred circle around this space, setting my ego to the outside. I call upon my ancestors, higher wisdom, divine love, the ascended masters to be with me, protect these messages, protect this space, protect the listener and the person for whom they're listening. And so it is. All right, so we're going to look first off, these are the Psychic Tarot by John Holland. And so we're going to look at just what is the core issue? What is the number one thing to be focusing on right now? Okay, so here's this. It's time to let go of the suffering and silence. If you've been feeling this despairing, suffering and silence, feeling like you just haven't been, maybe you've gone into like hermit mode, not hermit mode in like the tarot way, but like just kind of gone into isolation. You've gone into your cave and you've been really not seeking a lot of help or reaching out to your community. It's important to get out of that energy. It's important to get out of this suffering and silence. Talk to people, communicate with people about what you're experiencing. Get into a community, join a group, do something, go hire a therapist, whatever it is. But really, once you start talking about things, it helps you to release some of the pain. Grief and pain and shame especially thrive in the darkness. And so when we shine a light into those places that have been hurt, that we've been wounded, that we feel pain, it actually allows us to begin the process of healing. And so what I'm really feeling right now is that if you've been isolating yourself and just kind of hiding away, it's definitely time to come out of that. It's definitely time to come back to the land of the living. Yes, this connection has been, creates an upheaval. It causes a lot of difficulty for a lot of, when you're in it, but you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to continue to be in pain about it. At a certain point, you have to decide what direction do you want to go in. A lot of times people hold on to the pain because that's the only connection that they have. Maybe your counterpart has ghosted you, or you've been in non-communication, or they're with a karmic partner, and you're like, the only thing that really connects me is feeling this pain and this sadness, this suffering. And so sometimes people have a hard time releasing and letting go because of that, because they don't want to lose that connection. They don't want to let go because they feel like, well, if I let go, then maybe they'll never come back. And you know what? Sure, that may be the case, that they never come back. But do you want to live your life in suffering without someone coming back, or do you want to move on with your life and find bliss and happiness and joy and them never come back? Okay? Does that make sense? Like, worst case scenario, they don't come back. How do you choose to live in that situation? I'm not saying that they won't. I'm not saying that they don't come back. A lot of times people come back after many, many years of being apart. And so it's certainly a possibility. I'm just saying, in the meantime, between now and that point, how do you want to live? How do you want to spend this lifetime? Mary Oliver is a poet. She just passed away a couple of weeks ago. And one of the quotes that I've always loved is, what do you want to do with this one wild life of yours? I think is what it's, I'm misquoting it, I'm sure. But What do you want to do with this one life of yours? What do you want to do with this one day? What do you want to do right now? Those are the questions we need to be asking ourselves. What do we want to do moving forward? And how do we want to live? Do you want to live your best life, or do you want to continue suffering? So let's just I want to look at what advice Spirit has for you for your career. Triumphant success. There's a lot of thoughts cards here. So here's what Spirit is saying with this triumphant success, is that you already have had this moment of clarity. This card is about having an aha moment, getting really clear, getting a clear message. So you've already gotten a message. You've already gotten some insight about what you're supposed to do, your next move, the next step you're supposed to be taking. Spirit saying, like, you've already gotten that information. Now it's just time to act on it. Now it's time to take steps forward, because what you do now, as you follow the guidance that you've been given, as you follow the intuition the intuitive hits that you've gotten, as you follow take those steps, you're actually going to create the success that you've been looking for. This is a new beginning. If you've been looking at starting a new career, shifting careers, getting a different job, this is Spirit's guidance saying, yes, that's a good move to make. That's a really good thing for you to do. So don't hesitate. Don't hold back. Take those steps. Do what you need to do. You will be triumphant if you follow the steps and the guidance that you've been guided to get. So what about your relationships? Not like romantic relationships, but friendships. So we got hope. I want to look in the book because I think this is the Star card, but I want to look to be sure. Yeah, it is. I was right. That's crazy because that has shown up a handful of times. Again, the Star is, the Aquarius. It's attached to Aquarius. We just started Aquarius season. So part of what this is saying is that there is a lot of hope for your future. If you've been feeling sad and despondent, which obviously this card is saying that you have, that Spirit's saying, look, it's it is what it is, and to move forward, to break free from where you've been, you've got to turn toward the friendships, turn toward the people that give you hope. This may be specific to some of you. Maybe you have a friend who is an Aquarius, or who has Aquarius in their chart, and they're really holding space for you, and that's someone to turn toward. Otherwise, if that doesn't apply to you, it is literally saying your friendships are going to be the things that are going to give you the most hope. That your friendships are going to shine the light. You see this? They're going to shine a light for you in ways that you haven't yet seen, that you don't quite yet understand. And that's what this is about. This is what Spirit is saying, is like, turn to your friends, turn to your community, because you're going to find some great hope in that. You will notice that as you go into community and friendship and start reconnecting and building those relationships again, that you'll start to feel better. You'll start to feel more motivated. If you've been in a cave kind of isolating yourself for a while, getting out into community and reconnecting with people is actually going to be very healing for you. A couple of weeks ago, I went to, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, I went to the MLK Day Parade here in the city where I live, and saw a friend that I hadn't seen for a while, and it was just her response was so loving and just happy, and it was just really healing to my soul. And so I can attest to saying that if you haven't been connecting with people, this is going to be a really good time and really soothing for you. You'll find a lot of hope. You'll find inspiration. If you're continuing to be in silence and in an echo chamber, it's going to be hard for you to move out of this depression or sadness or the suffering. If you could have done it on your own, you would have done it already. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to friends and people that you care about, people that care about you, to get your hope reignited. So let's look at what you need to know for self-love. Interesting. We got the shadow, okay? So here's what Spirit is saying, is that there's definitely some shadow work that needs to be worked through, okay? You can't keep pretending or denying or hiding that you might have some shadow aspects. Everybody does. You know, it's just like, welcome to humanity. We all have a shadow side. We all have shadow aspects, things that we don't necessarily love, right? Things that we're not necessarily like thrilled about, but that's okay, because they're part of us, and they're part of how we got to be to who we are today, and that's part of the things that we deal with. And as we grow, we can shift and transmute that energy. And so I believe this card came out in yesterday, this reading this week too, which is interesting. So it's really important to just face that, to face your shadow, to face this is, by the way, the moon card. So we have the star and the moon right next to each other with progress. Really interesting. So the feminine, this is about really digging into your own feminine energy, whether you're masculine or feminine watching this video. The feminine is the seat of intuition. It's receptivity. The feminine is nurturing, right? And so part of what needs to happen for you to break free from where you've been stuck, where you've been trapped in the past, is really about facing your shadow, really about integrating that aspect of yourself, the things that you don't like to admit about yourself, the things that you deny, the things that maybe in the past you've done some spiritual bypassing. You know, and spiritual bypassing is things like, well, I just forgave this person, I just forgave my counterpart, and didn't process the grief and the sorrow and the pain. And that may be why this is still happening, the suffering is still happening, because people aren't really facing and dealing with the hard stuff. Maybe that's what is keeping you stuck, and what's keeping you from being able to break free. And so what this is saying to me is like, really embrace your shadow side, embrace the things that you don't want to deal with, the things that you might feel a little bit intimidated by, the things that you might be like, you know, this is a little bit scary for me to really be in this space, but I'm going to go ahead and face it. Anything that you push out of your awareness, anything that you deny and that you try to pretend doesn't exist, is housed in your shadow. And the sooner that you move through that, the sooner you'll be able to break free from that. That's really, really positive messages. So I want to move this aside. I don't have a format for this, guys. I'm just literally going by what Spirit is saying. And so I want to look at, I'm going to use the Archetype cards by Carolyn Miss. We're just going to look at a couple of, you know, what archetypes you need to embody right now to move forward. So let me pull, I feel like there's 3 cards that are really going to be helpful for you. I feel like Spirit is saying there's 3 cards that were the archetype that you can embody to take going forward that's really going to help you break free. This is a really large deck, and so it's hard to shuffle in the traditional way. Okay, so this card wants to come out. Okay, so the first thing is the hedonist. It's like the light attributes. It says, inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in life, beauty in yourself. Shadow attributes, pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. So here's what, because I don't even, like the shadow side, I see it, but like this is literally saying like, enjoy your life, enjoy yourself. I'm currently looking right now, just as a side note, of putting together a group of friends to go do some pole dancing classes. Just have some fun, just kind of shake your ass and move that root chakra and get things moving again, get things, you know, positively shaking up again, okay? Unblock that energy. So that's what Spirit is saying, is just really get into the, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy your life again. Eat foods that are nurturing to you, that are healthy, but take care of yourself. If you've been like denying yourself or like self-flagellating about punishing yourself or any of that kind of energy, Spirit's literally saying, look, it's time to enjoy yourself again. It's time to be in a space where you feel abundant, where you feel you feel like you're enjoying your life, and you feel like things are really positive for you. Things are really moving in a positive direction, and that's what Spirit's guiding you to do at this point. And by the way, I said I mispronounced the word chakra earlier. I apologize for that if you're listening. I'm in my yoga training, I'm learning how to properly pronounce the Sanskrit words. And although most people say chakra, that's not how you pronounce it. It's chakra, if you can roll your R. So there you go, just a little bit of added info. So the other card that came out is the Mother. This is about nurturing. So this is like, you know, for like nurture your inner hedonist, like where you're really enjoying your life and you're literally taking care of yourself. Find foods that are nourishing, that really feed you. Listen to music. You know, there's this that saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you're listening to like trashy music or music that makes you feel down, or you're engaging in behaviors that are doing that, if you're on social media and it makes you feel bad, if you're doing things that just don't lift your vibration, like start doing it. Dance in your living room, dance in the shower, shit. You know, put on your own strip show in your room. Whatever you need to do to make yourself feel alive again, to make yourself feel that yummy, juicy kind of flowing energy again that's been stagnant. Like throw open the doors to your soul and let it air out, like blow the dust out. Okay, that's, I mean, actually seeing like that in my mind's eye, like people opening up like the doors to their soul and their heart, and like letting the light come in again, letting the light shine, and letting themselves be seen. If you feel like you've been hiding and not been seen for a while, it's important to really engage in nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself. Do things that feel good. Don't like exercise because you want to beat yourself up, like because you hate your body. Exercise because you love your body and you want to take care of it. Eat healthy foods not as a punishment or as a deprivation, but because you love yourself and you want to fuel your body that has taken such good care of you and gotten you so far in life, right? That's what this is about. Excuse me. Go for walks, meditate, whatever, but nurture yourself, because that is going to be the thing that's going to really help you to break free. So I'm going to pull one final card from the archetype. Wow, Warrior. Okay, so the light attributes of this are, I'll hold it up so you can see it. Strength, skill, discipline, toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. You guys, that's really, I mean, seriously, it's just such a beautiful reading so far. So really draw upon that warrior energy of yourself. You're strong enough to do this. You're strong enough to conquer these things that have been holding you back. It's literally a matter of discipline. So one of the things that I always recommend is if you're in separation with your counterpart and they have you know, you're not communicating, but you're not blocked or anything, and then people go, oftentimes they'll go and like stalk each other's social media and check things out and want to know what's going on with the other person, and that only contributes to keeping you stuck. There is psychological research about how long it takes to make or break a habit, and the minimum amount of time is about 21 days. I like to recommend people go longer, like 45 days consistently to establish a new habit. But why I say that is because if you can go at least 30 days without contact, without, stalking their social media, without going back and reviewing old emails or text messages or pictures or whatever, if you can really go on kind of like a twin flame detox. I don't know, that's the best way I can think of it. Not looking, not checking, not communicating. You may want to, but you don't do it. You don't reach out. You don't actually send the messages. You just kind of think about it and you move on. If you can get through that, you'll find that at about day 21, 22, you will actually you'll start to feel better. You'll start to feel some of those attachment chemicals. I know this is very like sciencey right now, but just bear with me. The love feelings, there's a whole, like, it's a really great like cocktail of chemicals in our brains when we fall in love with somebody. It's oxytocin, oxytocin, I was going to say the drug, anyway, oxytocin, serotonin, norepinephrine, all of these things are like really great drugs, chemicals. It's like the love drug. And it takes time for those to move through your body. It takes time to release those. And so if you can be disciplined enough to not get caught up in wanting to reach out and taking action on that. Like every time that you look at their social media, or you read those old emails, or look at those photos, or do any of that, it's like giving your brain a hit, and then you have to start the detox process all over again. And so why I'm going on all of that is because the discipline. It will take discipline. How you break free from this is that you have to really commit to it. You really have to really commit to saying like, okay, right now the situation is what it is. It's, not what I want it to be, not what I thought it would be, but if we're not, in communication, we're not in union right now, doesn't look like it's imminent, I'm going to have to discipline myself and make a decision to move forward in the way that's best for me. That may mean making a decision to commit to a meditation practice. It may be a decision to, whatever it is that nurtures you and makes you feel healthier, makes you feel better. As you stand in your strength and do that, it's really going to help you get free of that energy. And what I'm noticing right now is that this is like the only archetype that's not showing up right now for it is the child, the child card. We have the this would be like the maiden, this would be like the mother, this could be like the crone, or the I don't even know what the masculine version of that is, but so I'm seeing just all across the span that this is all aspects of what it is to be a human and experience this, okay? And out of curiosity, I pulled another card because, I felt like I wanted to. And the lover. The lover is the final archetype for you to embrace. So this is great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of something, someone or something. The shadow is obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive devotion. So 2 things. It's saying, this card is literally saying, first of all, like, I feel like this lover's energy, self-love, really kind of get obsessed with yourself. I have a friend who, she's a life and coach, and she talks about that, about being obsessed with her life. And I think it's amazing. It's a great way to approach it. If you don't live a life that you're like obsessed with, that you're like, oh, this is great, then make the changes. So really do that. Engage in your life and live your life in a way that you feel the love flowing, that you feel the abundance, you feel all of that yummy goodness going through you. And get out of this obsessive energy. If you are obsessing about your twin flame, if you're obsessing about what they're doing, who they're doing it with, whether they're coming back, whether they're, you're like, what's going on in their thought space? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? You might be tending toward the unhealthy aspect of this. No judgment. We've all been there. But it's important to not stay there. It's important to let yourself move through that so you can heal and go in a different direction. This is also saying to me, ignite your own lover's energy. You don't have to have a lover to be a lover. I hope that makes sense. I always call this smoldering, when you have if you've ever gone camping or barbecue with not with like a gas grill, but like the other kind. If you can get into a space where, when you're barbecuing, when you have a fire, oftentimes it goes into what would be considered a smolder. This is like that, where it's still like, there's still the fire is not blazing. It's not like an inferno where you can actually see the flames, but the coals and the core of the fire is still there. And if you threw some kindling on it, then it would like blaze up into a fire again, but it's not an active blaze. That is what Spirit is saying, is it's important for you to learn how to simmer, how to stoke those flames of passion for yourself, to be the lover even in the absence of a beloved, to know how to keep that fire within yourself burning, that passion alive, so you're not dependent on somebody else, so you're not dependent on one particular person, but that you know how to light your own fire, okay? And I don't know, I just feel like this almost like Kundalini rising type of energy, where you understand your own passion and your power and your ability to create the life that you want to live. And it feels good, and it feels, there's all this enjoyment, there's nurturing, there's strength, you stand in your power, you know who you are. whenever I see the warrior card, like in this deck, what comes up for me is, because I love Wonder Woman, and the movie Wonder Woman that just came out, a while back, where there's just these women, they're so confident, they know who they are, they're skilled in battle, they know how to fight, they know how to take care of themselves. Similar to the warrior women in Black Panther, just really powerful, but still women, still sexy, still seductive and enticing and all of that. And so what this is saying to me really is that you don't have to sacrifice one or the other in order to get the life that you want. And in fact, as you embrace all these aspects of yourself, as you embrace the things that feel good and that feel juicy in your life, it actually gives you the freedom to be able to it gives you the freedom that you're seeking, to be able to break out of this feeling stuck energy, and being able to move toward what it is that you want. Again, doesn't have to be another person, doesn't have to be finding another lover, doesn't have to be any of that kind of stuff. It can literally be simply as simple as you just living your best life and knowing how to keep yourself happy, nurtured, how to stand in your strength, how to be strong and powerful, and how to enjoy your life. Okay, once you learn all of that, things are just going to really work out smoothly for you. I can feel it. So let me move this aside. And I'm going to get some messages from your higher self. So what messages from the listener's higher self spirit? By the way, the seductive, what I was talking about, the seductive kind of, it can be masculine or feminine. You don't have to be one or the other. I think I might have used language that presented it as though I was talking more to the feminines, and I apologize for that. That is actually for both people, so or whoever's listening. So I just had a bunch of cards fly out, so I'm going to pick them up really quickly. Give me a second. I don't know if I said that, but those are the archetype. What I just used, the archetype cards by Carolyn Miss. And so these messages from your higher self are coming from the Sacred Rebels Guidebook by Alana Fairchild. Sorry, Sacred Rebels. I was looking at the book because it's right here in the box in front of me, so. That doesn't happen very often where cards fly out like that. And so what that is saying to me is that there's a lot of energy happening in these cards. There's a lot of energy, a lot of messages that want to come through. So that's a good thing. So the first message, legacy of light. This is what your higher self wants you to know. And if you look at that, that is like being connected to the higher self. It could be the higher self, ancestral wisdom, I love that. Of course that card came out. Okay, I don't normally do this, but seriously, these cards just jumped out again, and so I'm going to just take all of them. Okay, so here's what we have. We've got focus on the light. We have legacy of light, we have conscious connections, diving for light, visions of life beyond death, and focus on the light. So what I'm getting from all of this is just right off the bat is, again, focusing on the light. That's going to be the primary thing. If you can stay focused on the light, if you can stay focused on the goodness of this of your life, even what this connection brought to you, even if it was heartbreaking and painful, and there was difficulties, and all of those things were happening, there's still light to be focused on. What good came of it? Did it wake you up? Did it help you understand yourself in ways that you didn't understand yourself before? Did you learn what love really is? Did you learn how to really truly love somebody or love yourself in a way that you haven't before? As long as you can focus on that, focus on the goodness, it's going to be easier for you to for yourself to let go. Now this is this legacy of light is literally saying that, you know, your birthright is to live a life of light, that you have so much support, and like your spirit team, okay, your spirit team, guardian angels, so on and so forth, they have your back. And so what your higher self is saying is, like, don't try to do this on your own. Again, the message keeps coming through. If you could have done this on your own, if you could have moved through this already, if you could have moved through it on your own, you would have done it already, right? And that's why when sometimes it's okay to say, like, you know what, I need some help, and calling upon your ancestors, higher wisdom, spirit, to be able to get that support that you need, just to be able to say, like, I just need to have something different in my life. So when you ask for help from your guardian angels, from your guides, from your ancestors, they're like rushing in to help you, but until they can't do anything, maybe give you signs and hints and things, but until you reach up and ask, until you say, like, if I can't do this, I need some help, I need some guidance, can you please show me the way? Then it's like I see like this like rush of like this army of support that wants to be there and wants to help you, if you can just open yourself up to receive it. And this conscious connections is really important, because this is really speaking to whether your connections, like, okay, so limiting time, sorry, that message was coming through really fast. Limiting time with unconscious connections. Limit the time that you spend with people who don't engage in self-reflection, who don't know themselves, who haven't bothered to take the time to do this internal work. Make time and spend time with people who are conscious, people who are doing the work, people who are on the path. Get in a community of people that can support you, that can help you shift your perspective. That's going to be really important. Your higher self is saying you have those kinds of connections around you already. You've got friends, you've got soul family that's already around you. Use that. I don't mean use it like, use it, but it's available to you. Tap into it. And diving for the light. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck, because it's like the message is essentially that you can, it's easy to move toward the light when it's, easily visible. It's much more difficult, and it speaks to a higher level of soul development when you can dive for the light, when you can go beneath the surface, when you're, swimming underwater and you can't see anything, and you just keep going and going because you know that the light is there. This is saying, like, for you, listener, this has not been a process of easy looking for the light. This is saying, like, you've had to dig through a lot of stuff, a lot of baggage, a lot of weight to be able to move through it. And so your higher self is saying, continue to dive for that light, continue to go for it, because it's there. Even if you may not see it yet, it's there. And as you commit to growing your own growth process and being in these conscious connections, and asking for spiritual support, asking for those things, focusing on the light, you're actually going to be able to move yourself through this. And this one, 44. Visions of life beyond death. I love this card as well. This is, of course, 44 is, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, so 411, so I love that. But this is saying, like, I really feel like there's a couple of things that are coming through. The first thing is about just the flat out, that life beyond death. This is, again, and I've said this before, but I'm going to repeat myself. If you're twin flames, if you have a soul connection, and you don't figure it out this lifetime, you'll try again next lifetime. You'll go back together in the spirit realm and reconnect and reconvene and figure out what went wrong this time, and next time you come around, you'll maybe try and do it again, do it better this time. But this is like, recognize that, this is, when you look at life in the grand scheme of things, okay? When you take a step back, and you look at the big picture, you look at what's really significant in life. Sometimes it helps us to get out of our own way. one of the things that I've said before is that it's hard to see the painting when you're the one in the frame. And so this is saying to me, get some perspective, get some distance from this, because it's, from this situation. Look at it from a higher perspective. If you look at it from a spiritual perspective, like I was just saying, we're twin flames, we're soulmates, whatever. That means that we're going to do this again. We're never really apart. We're always connected. If you looked at it from that perspective and you were able to say, like, if we don't figure it out this lifetime, if we don't work out the karma and we have to come back together and try again, well, I guess that's what we have to do. Excuse me while I take a sip. And that's what this card is really saying, is that when you get a higher perspective, when you see things through that light, when you see things through deeper wisdom, it's saying, life is, the universe has your back. Things are working out in your favor. You're protected. Whatever it is that's like really, you're trying to deal with, is you're gonna be able to master it and move through that. It's saying, this card is literally saying, it's time to shift the way that you're viewing things, look at it from a different angle, and if you don't know how to see it, if you're like, well, I've been trying to do that for a while, Dr. B, and I just don't know how, ask your guides for help. Ask your guides to give you a different perspective, a spiritual perspective, higher perspective from this, so that you can move forward in an unfettered manner, so that you feel free, so that you feel like you can live your life and enjoy your life again without feeling constantly bogged down by the energy of this connection. It can be a very heavy energy. Let's just be real. It can be very heavy to be in a twin flame connection where there's not union, where you're feeling separated, where things are really seem to be going wrong. And so in order to reach that state of liberation, this is what your higher self is guiding you to do. So listen to that. Take that wisdom. Take that advice if this reading resonates, and use it the way that it will for you. So let's go ahead and scooch this aside. Oh, scooch. I haven't said that in a while. Also not a word. I just make things up. So I'm going to pull one final message from the Crazy Sexy Love Notes deck. And this is a message from Spirit for you. So a message, Spirit, for the listener, please. Okay. Be present. Your full presence is the greatest gift you can give yourself and others. Life is happening right now, in this moment. Today is the only day that matters. Anchor yourself in the now and give it your all. Notice the details and drink in the sweetness. Be present. Beautiful. My daughter said that the other day. You can't worry about the future, just worry about today. And I was like, it's actually pretty wise. So that's this reading. I hope that it resonated for you. If you'd like to book a private reading, you can do so by clicking the link in the description box. Please keep in mind, I also offer pay what you can options as a way to kind of, punch capitalism in the throat. And so if you have, if you're unable to purchase a full price reading and you still would like to work with me, the instructions on how to do that are in the community tab. So I hope that this was useful. I hope that you're well. Take care. Bye-bye.